So when I was about 7 years old, I was in elementary school, and a bunch of my classmates, I think every week or so, there was like a student of the week, and all the people in class, all the young kids would write notes to that student, and they were like the superstar of the week. So fast forward to today, and my mom was going through some documents and decluttering some of the old papers we had in a drawer literally right next to my desk. And she found this book that I hadn't seen in years. It was a laminated book with a picture of me as a kid, and the book was filled with pages of these notes from the students in my class. And I was 7 years old, so these notes were so wholesome. They were like, one said, I I love building Legos too. I love building too. I want to be a musician when I grow up as well. Or probably not in that, in these terms, but that sentiment. And it was just so wholesome and awesome to see that, and it brought me back to my childhood. Um and when I saw that, I was just thinking like, wow, this is beautiful. And it put me in touch with that childhood self again, and it made me think about the ways I've changed and some things that I've held on to and the other things that I haven't, and some things that I've gained and baggage and all this stuff. Um, Things like my love of music and my love of building and tinkering and being creative and finding out the intricacies of how things work. Like I used to take apart toys and just see like how it worked inside, and that's just always been something that I love to do even today. So when I saw this, it really brought me back. Oh shoot. Oh no, I am recording. I thought I wasn't recording. Okay, I was about to freak out. I recorded this once before, and um I didn't press record, and it was a pretty good take, but I'm here again for the second time, or however many times it's been. But yeah, like I was saying, when I realized this, even when I realized this deep down in the process of life, some things are forgotten, and things get jaded, responsibilities weigh on you, and you start to think about different things like becoming a grown up, like they say. And I kept flipping through this book and smiling and remembering all the old friends I had back then, and all the jokes I would tell, and just the disruptions and the weird stuff we would do, and the classmates and their kind words, wondering where they might be today and what their lives might look like after all these years. Now, and who knows, like maybe some of them are, I don't know, like it's amazing to think about though. And after reminiscing and reflecting on this thoughtful book, I remembered I once also had a love of writing stories and creating imaginative narratives and wonderful worlds, and just expressing myself through these beautiful creations, through writing and making these stories. And it kind of sparked a thought in me that I wanted to see those old stories again, and I was hoping my mom might find a few in that forgotten drawer. So I mentioned it to her, and I asked her to keep an eye out and see if she had would be able to find any, and if she did, to show me, cuz I would love to see it. So eventually I moved on to some other tasks, and she continued working on that drawer. And then a while later, she came to me and said to me that she found no stories, but she did find one little half sheet of paper with some beautiful feedback on it that I had gotten on a children's book that I'd written in high school for an assignment. And here's what the sheet said. It said, first of all, my name, my period, social change, children's book, creative book project scoring sheet, and I got full points, 200 points plus 25, and she said, you deserve it. So 225 points. And then in all capitals, she wrote, I love everything about this. You are so creative. So underlined 3 times. This is gold. Can I keep this as an example? Question mark, exclamation, question mark, exclamation. So proud of you. In all capitals. And this was a really beautiful thing to see after all that time not being able to, or not having thought about it. And it made me want to go back to that book and see, because I remembered instantly what it was. It was a book about a world without color. And the main characters, I didn't realize all the details at the time, but I remembered the overall story. But it made me want to reach out to that teacher again. And this spurred me to want to find that teacher and possibly get that book back, to maybe even publish it and kind of finalize it, because it really is a beautiful story. So I read it aloud, or before I did that, I had to instantly download Google Docs to see if it was still there, and thankfully it was. So I downloaded Google Docs, searched up color or something like that, and it popped right up, and there it was, albeit without the illustrations, but still I could at least read what I had written. And you know, basically, to cut to the chase, I read it all aloud to my parents, and by the end of it I was in tears, just because of how beautiful the message was, and the ending question, that I was just like taken aback even all these years later. And I was just so inspired to see, like, wow, I wrote this story in high school, and what happened since then? What happened to that creative spark and that creative energy that I once had, and I still have, but have just not kind of, I haven't really appreciated it as much. I've kind of let it dwindle over the years with just the responsibilities, like I said, and the realities, or whatever, the excuses, all of the distractions of life. And this kind of showed me that I had lost that creative spark somewhat, and I had only been focused inward selfishly for a lot of times, and not imagining and using my creative inspiration like I once had. So that's what inspired me to write this and make this video today, is to share my experience with you and basically express that this same thing is likely possible for you as well. You might have some old papers or old files tucked away somewhere in a drawer, or find some random box somewhere in your garage or wherever you keep your old stuff that you've never looked at in over what, even a decade it could be. And taking the opportunity to declutter and to sift through those old memories, it can reveal something completely forgotten and inspirational to you. And I know there are some deep memories hidden somewhere, that maybe it's not in a file cabinet or wherever, it might be somewhere else, but there has to be something there that you may have lost touch with, that is like that spark that you could be using in your daily life to create that inspiration. And these hidden memories, if you spent the time to reflect inward, or declutter, like I said, your old stuff, you will find something that sparks something special without a doubt in you, and it's probably been jaded away. So a lot of things get lost to time, lost to life, the craziness, wild ride of life. And really, we have to take the time to go back and realize who we truly are without all the distractions, without all of the constant um, pulling of our attention that everyone wants us to pay attention to what they have to say or what they have to share with us, or what how we can benefit them. We really need to reconnect with our own inner purpose and our own inner child. And if you follow through with this and end up finding something that you never expected, or some kind of like memories and keepsakes that you had just been left sitting in a forgotten drawer, a drawer, like I said, that was literally sitting right next to my desk this entire time, um, I'd love to hear about it and let me know what that sparked in you and what maybe had been lost to time. So I'd be very interested in hearing about it, and I'm sure others would as well. So, yeah. And also, if you are interested in hearing that story, I would be considered, I would possibly consider sharing it. I just have to kind of hone in the details and the illustrations and all that, but, or maybe even publish it. Who knows? Like, it was truly a beautiful story. And speaking of beautiful stories, if you haven't read The Little Prince, I highly recommend reading that. I read it last night for the first time to my mom, and my dad was roaming around and just like kind of doing his own thing. And eventually he sat down and heard the end of it. But that story is so beautiful, and I won't go into too much details of it because I want you to experience it for yourself. But it made me see the world in a completely different light. And even still today, it's like difficult to get into that mind space, but it's so valuable. Um, so yeah, I would love to hear any experiences you've had that spark that inner child within you. And if you are able to set that inner child free, I'd love to hear about it. So thank you guys, and thank you very much for watching. Peace.